The study of anthropology as it relates to occupational therapy. Students studying to become occupational therapists are required to take a plethora of classes as prerequisites to get accepted into a master's program, such as Bio 1 and 2, Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2, Labs, Abnormal Psychology, Sociology, Statistics, Health Science Observation, Cultural Anthropology, Human Growth and Development. The other courses in this list are pretty obvious of why they are required, to get a scientific backbone to support the logistics of doing occupational therapy. But why anthropology? But I'm getting ahead of myself. You may be asking, what is occupational therapy? According to Jane Clifford O'Brien and Susan M. Hussey's Introduction to Occupational Therapy is the practice that uses goal-directed activity to promote independence and function. I like to think of it as setting goals to guide a client to reach their highest potential. An occupational therapist could work with all different age groups and levels of ability. For occupational therapy and pediatrics, this includes feeding therapy, handwriting, self-care, and many other things that require fine motor skills for becoming independent. So again, we come back to that initial question. Why cultural anthropology? My goal of becoming an occupational therapist stems from a desire to help others. It includes adapting tools, problem solving, and of course, lots of paperwork. As a college student just getting my first little glimpse of the real world, there are many avenues I could go. The choices extend from working in homes, to schools, to outpatient facilities, to hospitals, to global, perhaps even missions work. What do all these places have in common? People. People from all sorts of cultures and walks of life require occupational therapy. This means that even if I stay in the United States, anyone from anywhere in the world could walk into my future office, and I need to have skills equipped to speak to them in an appropriate manner. Cultural sensitivity is crucial, especially in big-name hospitals such as Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore, Maryland. Kennedy Krieger has clients from all over the world who come to America specifically to be treated by them. I could also end up in a facility in a foreign country. I need this basis of how to relate to others who are different from me. Everyone has a different story, even within the same culture. It is essential to understand how to relate to others to produce effective therapy. Everyone is so culturally steeped, and we don't even realize it. In the TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story, she discusses the effects of how our own view of the world only perceives others in one light, without getting to know all the sides of their story. In her speech, she talks about a servant boy who came to work for her house in Nigeria. She knew he was poor, so she had pity for him and his family. But this was just the single story of what she knew of him. She says, "Then one Saturday we went to his village to visit, and his mother showed us a beautifully patterned basket made of dried raffia that his brother had made. I was startled. It had not occurred to me that anybody in his family could actually make something. All I heard about them was how poor they were, so it had become impossible for me to see them as anything but poor. Their poverty was my single story of them." She then goes on to say that when she went to the United States to go to college, her roommate had a single story of the Nigerian people that reflected how she had previously felt about the houseboy. In any profession, especially one that works so directly with people, it is extremely dangerous to fall into the trap of the single story. One can avoid judging people by a single story by becoming more informed about different cultures and mankind as a whole. Studying cultural anthropology has given me tools to combat the trap of ethnocentrism, which is defined by the Connections Project as evaluating or judging another culture based on how it compares to one's own cultural norms. The example given in the text is Americans showing disgust for weird foods eaten by other cultures. Thinking your culture is better than another's culture is to be avoided. The most crucial concept I have learned while studying missional anthropology is openness. Openness does not mean blindly accepting others' beliefs, but it means being willing to consider that perhaps your view is not the right one. And even if you are right, it's certainly not the only one. Openness is an inclination to learn from other people and be respectful of others' opinions. In addition, I have learned to be aware of myself and others. Being aware of the problems that exist is the first step in working through any of them. Asking good questions is the avenue to complete all the aforementioned topics. In summary, we need to get rid of pride in thinking that we're better than everyone else. We need to stay open to other people's ideas and thoughts. We need to be aware of ourselves and others. We need to ask good questions to further our understanding. These are not the only things I learned in Missional Anthropology class, but I think they're a good basis of what we need to know. As a Christian stepping into the world of health practitioners, I should be known by my peers and colleagues as someone who strives to understand and love others. How could I spread the love of Jesus to those who I come in contact with if I don't show interest in them and put their needs ahead of my own? It is essential that I set a good example of how we ought to treat others, because if a Christian cannot love other people, how are those in the world going to do it? My burden for helping those who have disabilities reach their highest potential of living independently is a gift from God, and I intend to follow His will in doing so. God created the diversity we see in this world for His own good pleasure so that we could bring glory to His name. By staying humble, open, aware, and inquisitive, we can easily share the light and love of Jesus Christ into the lives of everyone we come into contact with. Thanks for watching.
safe to shore.